I'm going to show you the exact contract we use to close 1,000+ SMA clients. And if you don't already know me, my name is Jared Curry. I built two seven-figure marketing agencies with my business partner, Matt Shields, before I could legally drink. And something that always scared me is that 53% of businesses are sued, and marketing agencies are among the most vulnerable. Most agencies lack the components to have a contract that actually protects them. So by the end of this, you're going to have everything that you're going to need for an ironclad SMA contract to win disputes and protect your agency. This isn't going to be a fancy video. I'm going to walk you through the exact contract, the exact agreement. It's going to be super raw. And I'm going to show you how to get access to it at the end of this video. And after being in SMA for 5 years, I've had multiple instances where I've been threatened with a lawsuit, or I've had to use my agreement to fight a dispute. This is the only contract that can protect you, and we literally paid our attorney thousands of dollars to make it. So I have to preface with this one thing. I am not an attorney. I barely graduated high school. Do not take legal advice from me. Please consult with an attorney. This is not legal advice. I'm just giving you my basic interpretation on how I see things. So this is the exact same template that we used for our 300K per month agency. And there's a lot of legal mumbo jumbo. So we're going to skip through some of that stuff for you guys, and we're just going to get straight to it. So there are some placeholders in here, guys, for entity name, and you're going to have to change that here in the header and throughout the agreement. So entity name LLC, this is where your company name would go based off my interpretation of how this works. This is where your company state would go. And limited liability company, which is you, the service provider, and XYZ is the client, right? This is where you don't put the client's name from once again, this is not legal advice, but I wouldn't put the client's name. I would put the client's business name. So Joe the painter, I'm not going to put Joe here, or Joe Smith if that's his last name. I'm going to put A1 Painting if that's his painting company, A1 Painting LLC, and that's going to be the business, and then the client, and then that's the client, right? The business is the client, and then the guarantor is the actual business owner, right? So this is where I would put Joe Smith if he's the actual business owner. That's what I would do. Once again, consult with an attorney. I can't stress that enough. All right, and then the rest of this, guys, this is just basic legal information, and as you can see throughout this entire agreement, it's very beefy when it comes to legal terms, and this is how you know that this is a actual legit agreement. A lot of the stuff you see on the internet, it's so basic, it's not even funny. All right, this is the service term, and this basically talks about how long you operate for. So for us, it was 6 months. So 6 month increments, and then it automatically renewed for subsequent periods. That's the way we wrote our agreement, right? So if yours is like a 3 month, then you just change it. And then if it's not subsequent automatically, meaning it's not 3 months and then it's automatically going to renew for another 3 months. I know a lot of people, they do 3 months and then it goes to month to month. So you just have to change the terminology here. And then this is where the payment options go into play. So every single agreement needs its own payment option. So if you have a pay in full, if you have a split pay, if you have a payment plan, based off my interpretation of what I've seen and what I've heard attorneys talk about, once again, consult with an attorney, every agreement should have its own payment option. So for this, it's $5,997. That's the pay in full. And then it explicitly says this does not include ad spend if they want to do ad spend. And it's an additional amount of money. And then it talks about automatic billing. This basically says we have the ability to auto charge them if need be. And then this is the most important part of the agreement. This is the guarantee, right? A lot of agencies, they offer some sort of guarantee. If you don't, then you can skip this part. But if you do offer a guarantee, you need to make sure it's written a certain way. And this is how we had it written to make sure that we were protected, right? So it states the guarantee. So we promise 10 listing appointments within the first 180 days of this agreement. With that being said, it can be voided if any of the following occur, included but not limited to. So this is highly in our favor, but we're also not trying to screw our clients, just to be frank. All of the contingencies that, and this is what we would call contingencies, all the contingencies that we have in place here are solely to protect ourselves, but also the client, because if the client does all these things, they should be able to hit the guarantee. That's the way our agreement was written, right? So they have to call leads through normal business hours from 9 to 5. If they don't do that, if they don't call leads within the first 10 minutes, that can void the guarantee. Right? They have to spend the minimum ad spend. They have to make sure we have access to their ad account. Right? This talks about relationships. So, like, what's the relationship between the service provider and the client? Force majeure, based off what I know, this is like if, once again, earthquakes, nature, acts of God, etc., something happens, it can't, and that's preventing something like, for example, if your power goes out and you can't deliver the service, then the agreement is not voided because of that, right? But once again, let's consult with an attorney. Confidential information, more legal mumbo jumbo. I'm just going to skip to the parts that actually matter. Intellectual property, right? If you guys have any specific softwares or any specific like sequences or ads, this is, where you want to make sure this stuff is listed as intellectual property so that you protect it. They can't redistribute it, they can't share with other people, they can't resell it, etc. Right? This prevents your liability, limitations of liability. This talks about termination. So for us, they had to wait after at least 6 months, but after that, if they wanted to terminate their agreement, this basically breaks down how to actually do that. In the event of a default, this basically says that, we can go after them with collections. If they default, we can recoup our money. At least, once again, that's my interpretation of it. And we have an exit interview clause. So if a client chooses to leave, then they have to go through an exit interview. And this exit interview is meant for us not to try to get information about why the client's leaving. It's to prevent the client from leaving. So we've had so many recordings of us doing these exit interviews and saving the clients. If you guys want one of these, drop a comment down below. Maybe I can make a video about that and give you guys like an actual recording of us saving unhappy clients. We were really, really good at that, right? So this is why we have this in the agreement, because a lot of times people just leave and then the agencies don't do anything about it. But we say that if they leave and they don't do our exit interview, we're going to charge them an offboarding fee of $1,500. And this incentivizes and really motivates the client to hop on the call. And that call is pretty much like a sales call of us selling them again on staying, right? Non-disparagement basically says that the client can't say anything bad about you on the internet. And if they do, then now, you could possibly go after them legally as a result. Governing law. So, for example, our business was based in North Carolina. Yours may be different. Any attorney fees and collections costs. So, right, if we have to send them to collections because they had a payment plan, a debt collector, and they didn't pay, the debt collector is going to charge probably 15 to 20%. We're not going to pay for that. We're going to offset that cost to the client. And this basically sets that term in the agreement, right? The guarantor, right? So when you go to buy a car, and you're financing the car, or your house, right? A mortgage. You are taking a mortgage, but you're saying that you are personally guaranteeing it, meaning all your other assets are at stake. So, for example, when someone signed onto our agreement, they personally guaranteed it, meaning all their other assets are like collateral essentially, and they have to pay us, or else we could actually go after all their other assets, and we could send our debt collectors out after them. We could hit their credit score. If they don't pay, then they personally guarantee it. Then we can go ahead and report that to the credit bureau, and that's going to once again incentivize the client to pay. Ideally, you just want to have a good service to where you don't even have to worry about that, right? Because if you're making clients a lot of money, you shouldn't have to worry about this often. And that's what I would focus on. Don't use a really strong agreement like this to lessen the responsibility that you feel like you need to have with actually providing a good service. You need both. You need to protect yourself legally, but you also need to have a really good service. All right. Then the most important thing I would say is, once again, the guarantor side. So the client versus the guarantor. The client is just the business. So this is where I would sign the business name and then the title of the person signing. And then this is the guarantor. So we were dealing with realtors. We put their license numbers. If you're dealing with contractors, you can put their license numbers. It's just going to add more credibility to the agreement. And then this basically breaks down the scope of service. So it breaks down all the things that you're providing to that client. You want this stuff listed. So if you have disputes, chargebacks, any legal stuff, you can show what you said you were going to do, and then you can show proof that you did it. This is the scope of service. This is super, super important, and no one is doing this in the agency space. And guys, by the end of this, I'm going to show you exactly how to get access to this. So make sure you stay tuned. All right, last but not least, and we're almost done, guys. This is the payment authorization form. So this is where people are going to go ahead and put in their payment information. And this basically says that we can auto bill them. This is super important. If you don't have a payment authorization, you actually are not compliant, and you shouldn't be auto charging your clients. You need to have them authorized that you can automatically bill them. So guys, this is the service agreement / contract. Once again, I am not an attorney. This is not legal advice. I did not give legal advice. I just gave you how we operated our business, and you can take it up for whatever interpretation you want to. I am not an attorney. Do not sue me if this does not work for you. So if you guys want access to this, we're going to drop this doc in Agency World for free. If you guys aren't in Agency World and you don't know about it, this is probably one of the biggest school groups for agencies and SMMA owners. We're dropping a lot of value, ton of free resources. Matt and I even do Q&As in the group. So great opportunity for you guys to network, and you guys will get access there. So we will put a link down below for you guys to join Agency World, and you guys will be able to get access to this document down there. If you guys have any other questions, drop them down below. If you want me to drop more videos like this showing and breaking down templates, drop it down below and let me know what you want to see next. Yo, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you liked it, make sure you smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and turn on bell notifications so I can see you in the next one. And last but not least, make sure you guys check out one of these fire videos that the YouTube algorithm just hand selected for you. And guys, if you want to work with me on a one-on-one basis so I can help you scale your agency and take it to new heights like I've done in the past, because I've built 2 7-figure marketing agencies before I could legally drink, go ahead, click down below, fill out an application, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.